Welcome back. All right, so I want to talk about a show that I've watched and got all caught up on. One that I had wanted to watch actually for a while before I finally did get caught up on it this past week, and that's Warrior Nun. First off, too, um, so I got a picture, and this is kind of funny. So Tala Ash, right here, okay, so from Legends of Tomorrow, my favorite actors. They had another signing thing with Wizard World, so I thought, yeah, okay, I'll get another picture of hers. And so I got this one. Now, if you look at it, it says To Shannon the Hockey Guy. And I thought that would be fun, because then I can put that on the hockey set. You go, what's that? That doesn't belong on the hockey set. I can say, well, it says it's To the Hockey Guy, so it's a hockey one, and this is the entertainment one. Unfortunately, for people who watch my regular channel, yeah, I must have spent an hour and a half yesterday trying to figure out exactly where to put it. And the answer was in the window, which you can't see in videos. So it was hard enough for me to figure out where to put new pennants. So there we are. All right, the preamble aside and all that wonderful stuff. Warrior Nun I found to be both better than I had expected and more confusing than I had expected. Now, the good news on the confusing front is that I've started watching it with Yvonne. That's something I highly recommend to people. Watch a series maybe by yourself first, and then with a significant other after. That way you can watch it 2 times through and maybe get it. There were, like at the start, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. If you haven't watched Warrior Nun on Netflix, it's a very good show. It's a very entertaining show. And the actress who plays the main character in it, she reminds me of Ellen Page, who I know now goes by Elliot, but I mean like Ellen Page's roles early in her career. And Jennifer Lawrence. There's kind of like the two of them physically. If you mixed them, you end up with the actress that's the main character in Warrior Nun. At least that's how I see it. Because in certain scenes I can see one, and in certain scenes I can see the other. Very entertaining show, but again very confusing. So again, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't watched it, other than to say they seem to throw a whole bunch of twists at the end of that first season. I'm really glad there's a second season, and I kind of waited until I knew there'd be a second season before I started it. I've learned with Netflix shows, I don't want to get into it if they're going to screw me over and not give me an ending. So if it's a situation where it ends in a cliffhanger, I'm not watching it. Because I've had people say, well, yeah, this ends, you really should watch it though, it's a really good show. Yeah, it just kind of ends, but you should, no, I don't. It does, I don't understand why that happens. I know Dark Matter made me really twitchy about that. I don't understand canceling a show and then not, like, okay, so let's say the ratings are low and you want to cancel a show. Why not go to the creator, the producers, the writers, and say, look, the show's not doing what we wanted it to. We'll give you the budget for a 2-hour movie to wrap this up. I don't understand why that's not the default, to be honest, because people would watch that, and you'd probably get better ratings for that 2-hour movie than you got for the last season of the show. And who knows, people might decide to watch the show just to catch up and watch the movie. I just think it would generate more interest. But anyways, it might just be my trigger from Dark Matter talking, which is why, again, I waited for Warrior Nun till we knew we were getting a season 2. And again, there were certain plot lines that just get dropped. Characters that just aren't there anymore. And in interviews where they ask the writer, the creator of this, Simon Barry, so about that character, are they coming back? And his attitude is basically like, yeah, they might, sure, why not? Sure. Okay, no, you need to have, is there a plan? I was spoiled with the first 5 seasons of Supernatural, where Eric Kripke had a plan. And it's the reason why The Boys is so well paced out and planned, is because he always seems to have a plan from the beginning to the end. And Supernatural was supposed to end with season 5. Didn't, but supposed to. And when you watch 1 through 5 of Supernatural, you understand that's the logical closure point of the series. And so I trust him more than I trust a lot of other writers. Because I think it's more likely you're going to get a Lost experience where there's more and more logical issues with the show, where if you're watching and really paying attention, they kind of punish you for it. Because you're like, well, that doesn't make sense, because that would happen. Well, why? Well, why are they doing that? Well, that character just completely changed in this episode. And Warrior Nun kind of has that going for it. There were a couple of times where I started a new episode and I thought I had skipped an episode. Where I'm looking at what's going on and I went, did I miss something? What? And I'm looking through it and I'm like, no, I didn't miss anything. Well, why did that happen? Well, who's over there? So that was the issue I was having with it as it got later in the season, where I felt that the characters didn't have the consistency going for them. I like there's one part where you have Mary and Ava and they're in a village, and I wanted more time in the village than what we got. I thought that they kind of skipped over that, and then she's just gone. And I understand that, like, again, you have a 10 episode season, and you know how to, you want to start here and you want to end here, and it ends in the Vatican. And I'm not spoiling it by saying that it ends in the Vatican, but I thought it was kind of clunky how it went from A to B, and then in the beginning there's a character that I had suspicions of, and I thought, well, clearly that's going to be the bad guy. And then the rest of the series, they just go, nope, 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 nope. And then at the very end, there's a twist, and yep, that's the bad guy. And I was like, oh. So. Because at points I thought maybe Ava would turn and she'd be the bad guy. At points I thought, well, maybe Mary's going to have some kind of a break. But no. No. There are characters I'm interested to see where they go with them in season 2, like the father, and just how, and again, the big bad that shows up at the end of the season that not much happens with, and that I thought was kind of skipped over too. And you could see that coming. There were a lot of things that you could, and I never read the comics, so this isn't a situation where somebody's going to go, well, if you read the comics. I don't read the comics before I watch these shows. The same reason I didn't read Infinity War before I watched the movies. Because I think it's important to kind of be surprised and maybe not know what's coming up next. That can be important to people. It's sort of like for people who go to see the Lord of the Rings movies who didn't read the book. And so you don't ruin it for them. You just let them experience it, and then you kind of watch it and you see how you feel about it, having read the book, as I had before I saw the movies, and then talk to somebody who hasn't, and then we'll go see the movies. My ex had never read the book, so when we saw the movies, she had a completely different experience than I did because I knew what was supposed to happen. She didn't, and it makes things different. So I find that with comic book movies and comic book series, I'm better off not reading the comics and just going through it, and then I can say, well, that's dumb. And the funny thing is, when that's dumb and people say, well, that's what happened in the comics, well, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a great idea. There are some comics out there that the storylines either don't make sense or they're not very well paced or very well written. So when somebody says, well, that's what happens in the comics, sometimes I don't think that's a very good excuse for a movie or a TV show. And again, it can be lazy, right? Where the writer of the show or the movie says, well, that's what happened in the comics, so we couldn't change it. Sure, you can. There are plenty of times where they change things from comics and from movies to make some small, like WandaVision, for instance, where they made some small changes, and it did definitely make changes to the end result. So I enjoyed Warrior Nun. I'd be interested to know if you did as well, if you saw it. And again, the twist at the end to me felt like, all right, we're just going to tack this on. And I didn't think it was necessary, to be honest. I didn't think it was necessary. And yeah, I thought, I mean, I'm looking forward to season 2 and see where it goes from here. It is funny if you read up on how the series started and how exploitative it was drawn and written, and even the name Ariella, and the little wink and a nod that was, and how it started to where it is now. I think that's an interesting story. And then the big question I had the whole way through the second half of the season was, so JC. I also want to say, too, before I close out, the names were a little too on the nose for me. Whether it was Lilith, whether it was Mary, whether it was JC, wink. It felt like, and Michael, like there's an archangel, or, Michael, and there's, anyways. Again, everything seems so very, very biblical, and yet nobody at any point in the series stopped and went, wait, why do we all have names that are biblically based in a modern... Well, that is really strange, isn't it? Why does that happen? All right, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. I'm actually recording this between the second and third period between the Bruins and the Rangers. I woke up this morning on time, ready to do my job. The Bruins did not. And so I'll be doing the video on that on the other set in an hour. And if at any point in time I figure out a place for this picture on the main set, because I know it would throw people off. They'd be like, okay, hockey, hockey, hockey. What? And so that was kind of the idea I had in getting this. And also, you know, I like the autograph pictures thing. I think that's kind of fun. I think it makes things a little more professional looking. The issue I'm having is the one I always have, which is the sets that I have are too small for the ambitions that are in the brain here. So maybe someday I'll have a space that's big enough for all the ambitions that are here. But for now, I work with what I have. Thank you guys. And my wife says that all the time about being married to me. She just works with what she's got. You know, it's fine. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. Do hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys for everything. I will talk to you again soon.